You remember the moment someone said something, or maybe they said nothing at all. Just looked through you like you weren't worth the breath. And you felt it. That hollow drop in your chest. That slow burn of, why didn't I say something? Crawling up hours later alone, replaying it. Disrespect has a specific sting. Not because it hurts, because it reveals something, or at least it feels that way. Like the other person just saw something in you that confirmed your worst fear about yourself. But what if they didn't? What if the problem isn't what they said, or how they looked at you, or the way they dismissed you mid-sentence? What if the real issue runs deeper, quieter, and it started long before they opened their mouth? The Stoics knew something most people spend a lifetime avoiding. Disrespect in almost every form is not a verdict on your worth. It is a signal. And if you learn to read it correctly, it stops being a wound and starts being a weapon. Yours. This isn't about becoming cold or building walls or rehearsing perfect comebacks in the mirror. That will permanently change the way people treat you, not because you demanded it, because you finally stopped allowing anything less. Before we go further, if you're done letting other people decide how they get to treat you, drop unbreakable below. One word: own it. Rule 1. Know what is yours to control. Picture this. You're in a meeting. A colleague interrupts you, again. Midpoint, as though what you were saying was merely background noise. The room moves on. Your idea evaporates, and for the rest of the day, you carry it, the slight, the dismissal, the evidence as your brain keeps cataloging it that you are somehow less. Here's the revelation Epictetus offers, and it is one of the most disorienting truths. In all of philosophy, that moment, most of it was never in your control to begin with. Epictetus faced a challenging beginning, living within a system that sought to diminish his spirit. And yet he became one of the most respected philosophers in the ancient world, not by escaping his circumstances, but by mastering something no one could touch: his inner world. He wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." What's in your power? Your thoughts, your response, your values, what you choose to give weight to. What's not? Other people's behavior, their opinions, their interruptions, their need to feel bigger by making you feel smaller. The first Stoic rule for commanding respect is strikingly simple: stop fighting battles that were never yours. When you spend your energy trying to control how someone else acts, obsessing over their tone, their words, their inexplicable need to undermine you, you hand them the keys to your inner peace. You give them power they didn't earn. And here's what most people miss. The person who interrupted you in that meeting, they weren't thinking about you the way you've been thinking about them. While you replayed it 100 times, they moved on by lunch. The Stoic distinction between what is up to us and what is not up to us. What Epictetus called the dichotomy of control is not a philosophy of passivity. It's a philosophy of precision. It teaches you to stop bleeding energy into things you cannot change and to redirect that same energy into the one thing you absolutely can yourself. It loses its charge. The interruption still happened, but you didn't carry it home. You didn't let it edit your self-perception, and that, the quiet refusal to be defined by what you cannot control, is the first and perhaps most powerful form of self-respect. Rule 2. Never seek approval from those who disrespect you. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from wanting respect from someone who has made it clear. They don't intend to give it. You know the feeling. You work harder. You explain yourself more carefully. You adjust your tone, your timing, your presence. Quietly auditioning for a role in someone else's story, hoping this time they'll finally see you. They rarely do. And the cruel irony is that the harder you try, the less respect tends to arrive, because approval seeking, however subtle, is visible. People sense it the way animals sense fear. And when they sense it in you, it doesn't make them warmer, it makes them less careful. Seneca understood this intimately. He spent years in the court of Emperor Nero, surrounded by people whose approval was both politically essential and philosophically meaningless. He wrote, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." Think about what that means. Power, real power, is not the admiration of the crowd or the nod of the person who has been dismissing you. It is the ownership of yourself, your values, your standards, your sense of who you are when no one is validating it. The second Stoic rule is this: your self-worth cannot be a currency that you let others control. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent to all feedback. Seneca himself was deeply relational, as I said. He valued wisdom wherever it came from. The distinction is critical. There is a difference between respecting someone's perspective and needing their approval to feel whole. When you stop seeking validation from the very people who disrespect you, two things happen almost immediately. First, you stop giving them leverage. You cannot be manipulated by the withdrawal of something you no longer require. Second, and this is the part that surprises people, your behavior shifts. You stop over-explaining. You stop shrinking. You stop arriving in rooms already apologizing for taking up space. And people notice, not because you announced anything, not because you delivered a speech about your boundaries, but because something in your energy changed. You became, in the truest sense, harder to diminish. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly: never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. The moment you stop trading your dignity for someone's approval, even someone you care about, is the moment you become genuinely difficult to disrespect. Rule 3. Respond from strength, not from wound. Vited artebet, Cates in latant. Cato the Younger was one of the most polarizing figures in Rome. He walked barefoot. He wore the same plain toga, regardless of occasion. He refused to perform status in a city absolutely obsessed with it. And the Roman elite, senators, generals, political rivals, mocked him endlessly for it. But he didn't flinch, not once. Not because he was cold or emotionally disconnected, or too proud to feel the barbs, but because his responses, when he gave them, came from a place so deeply grounded that mockery simply couldn't find purchase. He responded from strength.
And the difference between that and responding from wound is one of the most transformative distinctions
The Stoics ever drew. Think about the last time someone disrespected you, and you reacted immediately, hot, defensive.
Maybe you said something sharp, or maybe you went quiet in a way that made your hurt
unmistakably visible. Either way, you revealed a point of sensitivity. And whether they were conscious of it or not, they filed it away. But Epictetus was clear: he who angers you conquers you. That's not a passive statement. It's a tactical one. When you react from wound, you don't just reveal your pain.
You confirm that disrespect is an effective tool to use against you. You become, in that moment, predictable.
And predictable people are easy to manage. Responding from strength looks entirely different.
It is not coldness. It is not rehearsed indifference. It is a pause, sometimes literal, sometimes internal, where you ask yourself, what response reflects who I actually am?
Not what I'm currently feeling. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily as emperor. He was surrounded by people who tried to provoke, manipulate, and destabilize him.
His meditations, never intended for public eyes, reveal a man in constant, honest conversation with himself. Working through anger, choosing deliberate response over reactive defense.
The rule is this: before you respond to disrespect, ask yourself, whose hand is on the wheel?
Is it you, calm, grounded, clear? Or is it the wound, raw, reactive,
hungry to be seen? When you respond from strength, something remarkable happens.
The person who disrespected you suddenly has no script to follow. They expected a reaction, they got composure.
And composure, more than any clever comeback, communicates one thing unmistakably. You did not touch me where you thought you did. That is power, quiet, absolute, incontestable. Rule 4. Silence is not weakness. It is armor.
We have been trained to believe that silence means surrender. That if you don't clap back,
counter-argue, or at least visibly bristle, you've somehow lost that.
Letting something go unchallenged is the same as accepting it. The Stoics would find this idea almost comically backwards. There is a kind of silence that is, in fact, the most powerful response available to you.
Not the silence of someone who has nothing to say. The silence of someone who has decided that the person in front of them has not yet earned a reaction. Epictetus describes it this way: when someone says something designed to sting you, to embarrass you, to pull you off center, your first instinct will be to defend yourself, to explain, to justify, to correct the record. And every single one of those responses however reasonable, announces the same thing that landed.
But what if it didn't have to? Marcus Aurelius wrote privately about encounters with people who insulted him, dismissed him, or tried to bait him publicly. His consistent practice was restraint. Not performance, not gritted teeth suppression, genuine philosophical restraint, born from the understanding that most provocations
are not worth the cost of responding. The cost he was thinking about wasn't dignity,
it was clarity. When you respond to every slight, you scatter your attention. You give the provocateur exactly what they came for: engagement, reaction, proof that they have the ability to move you.
Silence denies them all of it. Now, this is not a license for permanent passivity. The Stoics were not doormats. Seneca argued forcefully against injustice.
Marcus Aurelius commanded armies and made ruthless political decisions when necessary. The distinction is purpose.
They chose silence when silence served wisdom, and speech when speech served justice.
The rule is learning to know the difference, and most importantly, to stop confusing silence with shame. But when someone disrespects you, and you meet it with calm, unhurried quiet, not deflation, not avoidance, just steady, unimpressed stillness, you send a message that no clever response could deliver as cleanly.
You say, "I am not moved by this, and I am certainly not afraid of you." Silence wielded consciously is not the absence of power. It is power fully composed,
choosing not to waste itself. And there are very few things more unsettling to someone who expected to provoke you.
Rule 5. Set boundaries like a philosopher, not a victim.
Here is where most people go wrong with boundaries. They set them from pain.
They announce them as ultimatums, issue them mid-argument, or deliver them with the kind of emotional charge that turns a boundary into a battle cry. And then they wonder why it doesn't land with the authority they intended. The problem isn't the boundary. The problem is the posture. A boundary delivered from a place of hurt sounds like a plea. A boundary delivered from a place of clarity sounds like a law of nature.
The first invites negotiation. The second simply exists.
Fourth sense. Seneca wrote about this in the context of friendship and self-preservation.
Protect what is essential to who you are, not reactively, but philosophically.
From a settled conviction about what you will and will not allow into your life.
Not because of what someone did last Tuesday, but because of who you have decided to be. This is the distinction between reactive boundaries and philosophical ones. Reactive boundaries are set in the heat of feeling. They often crumble because they were never really about a principle.
They were about pain seeking relief. Philosophical boundaries are different. They are established quietly, internally, long before any conflict arises.
They are simply the shape of yourself, respect made visible. Marcus Aurelius modeled this consistently.
He did not announce his values in speeches designed to impress. He lived them so thoroughly
that anyone who encountered him understood, without being told, what he would and would not tolerate. The boundary was in his bearing, in his consistency, in the total absence of the need to defend himself. To people who didn't operate from the same principles. The Stoic approach to boundaries is less about what you say and more about what you are. When your values are clear to you, genuinely clear, not just aspirationally clear, they communicate themselves. People who are inclined to disrespect you will either adjust or they will reveal themselves as people whose presence in your life deserves serious reconsideration. And this is a gift, not a loss. Every person who cannot respect your quiet, settled, non-negotiable sense of self is showing you accurately and efficiently who they are. You do not need to convince them. You do not need to educate them. You simply need to make a decision about what you will continue to allow. And then let that decision speak loudly, without saying a word. Rule 6. Build an inner citadel they cannot enter. A wise figure from antiquity had a name for it.